It's all about truth. All of it. Every single thing. All boils down to the truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free. All right, welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. This is Press for Truth Live. I am your host, Dan Dix. Today is Tuesday, May the 17th, 2016, and we're now just 4 days away from the global March Against Monsanto rallies that's getting set to take place in over 500 cities all over the world. This year, I'm thinking this is probably going to be shaping up to be one of the biggest. I've been covering the March Against Monsanto rallies ever since they began, and back in Toronto, even just a few years ago, these rallies were huge. The last few ones I've been to, there were literally thousands of people showing up to march in the streets. So big shout out to James Connor in Toronto for holding down the fort this year and keeping it going, rallying together to get people to come out this Saturday. Awesome job. And I really hope we get a big turnout here in Vancouver as well. This is a topic that I'm very, very interested in, as most people are as well. And this is something I want to see be successful this coming Saturday. So today we're going to be joined on the line by two guests. We're going to be speaking with the young youth activist Daniel Bissonnette. And if you're not familiar with him yet, you will be soon. He's been making videos that have been going viral, giving talks at March Against Monsanto rallies. So we're going to have him on the line a little later in the program to get his ideas on what he's got planned for this year. But before we go to Daniel, we're going to speak with our first guest, and we'll just go ahead. We'll pull him up on the line now. We're going to be joined on the line via Skype with our guest, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media. We have him here now. Josh, thank you so much, man, for joining us here today on PFT Live, bro.
It's always a pleasure, Dan.
All right, man. So I want to get your thoughts on Monsanto and just the GMOs in general, really. But before we get into that, just tell us a little bit about your rally coming up this Saturday. What do you have planned for this weekend?
Well, I wanted to take it upon myself to host the March Against Monsanto because there are so many people out there that don't quite understand or get their head around the whole issue of Monsanto, GMOs, glyphosate, all these issues. A lot of people don't understand. And I think that the most important thing in the world is to get that awareness out there, make sure that they do understand, get that information out there so they can make the choice not to buy GMO products. So what we are doing is we're going to a part of Winnipeg called The Forks at 1 p.m. And we are going to march around. We're going to talk to people on the sidewalk. It's a high traffic area in Winnipeg. So there will be many people out, and it's going to be a beautiful day. We are going to inform people basically of what Monsanto is, how they came to be, and why we should march against Monsanto, why we should stop buying their products, because of course they have gotten their hands into every facet of life. And it is very important that we do not buy into this Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 slow kill agenda, basically.
What are some of the key issues that you feel are important for people to understand when it comes to not only Monsanto as a company, but genetically modified foods in general?
Well, I think it's very important for people to realize that glyphosate has been basically proven by scientists going over a decade now to be something that causes cancer, to be something that destroys children's IQs. I think that there is so much science out there about Monsanto and about the products that Monsanto creates that it's kind of stupid to keep repeating the same thing over and over again and going out and buying their product. The fact is we need to attack the demand. And I know that people like Dr. Thierry Vrain and Tony Mitra have gone on incredible tours against genetically modified organisms for many years. I don't necessarily think that every single actual GMO is necessarily bad. It's what the GMOs are used for that is bad. Now, when we get into animals, genetically modifying animals, there's so many things wrong with that. But I think it's because you are genetically modifying these plant organisms, then you are spraying things like Roundup, also known as glyphosate, on these plants, and that plant is drinking this fluid, and then it gets into that fluid, and then we eat that, and we get it into our body, and it hurts our brain, it hurts our body, it's slowly killing us. And there are so many examples I think it was in Britain, they had all of the MPs test their urine for glyphosate, and the findings were quite shocking. They found high levels of glyphosate. They found glyphosate in, I believe it was Fruit Loops not that long ago. I mean, and this is stuff that you're feeding your children, and it's so wrong to be, just willingly buying these products, because my thing is that the information is out there now. And people are still continuing to buy this product. And I'm not for the ban. This is where things get unpopular for me. I'm not for the bans. I'm not for any of the regulations. The government created Monsanto. The government is a reason why Monsanto even exists, why the monopoly exists. Asking government to solve the problems of government is just nonsensical. So my whole thing is trying to get people aware of what Monsanto is, what they've been involved in, going back to Agent Orange, the fact that parents are willingly buying these products for their children, and it's in basically every major company now because they do have a huge monopoly over the food industry. Basically every company, people are buying from grocery stores, mainstream grocery stores. They're buying this kind of food for their children. Their children are eating it, and those children don't know what's going on. Those children don't know that they're eating something that's technically a form of poison. I just think that we have to be extremely careful how we get around this from the perspective of freedom, because I am a voluntarist, I am an anarcho-capitalist, and I do believe that we should go at this in an intelligent, free manner where we manipulate the markets by not buying the product. It doesn't make sense to get to a point where we're saying, oh, we need the government to save us from ourselves because we can't decide not to eat this. Well, this is where we get into the whole dialogue of dependency, because everyone's dependent on the government today. And I think it's very important to push the issue of being independent, growing your own. People say it costs money to get, to buy organic food at the market and everything. But you know what? That price will lower and deflate as people start buying it up. And the Monsanto products will go under eventually if we stop buying it. But we keep asking for government to save us from ourselves, and that's not how we're going to fix stuff. We have to be the change we wish to see. We can't have government fixing the problems of government, because that has never, ever worked, ever.
You know, Josh, I got to say, I'm really glad you brought up this point, because this is an important point to make for anybody in the libertarian movement, for any kind of a voluntarist. Anybody who does not want to live under an authoritarian society has to understand that if you are going to force somebody to do something, even like a company like Monsanto, to ban them from being able to sell their products, well, you have to then violate the non-aggression principle. Some may suggest, though, that maybe they violated the non-aggression principle first by putting these poisons in the food. What is your position on the concept of labeling the food? At least, let's not maybe go as far as banning the company altogether, but at least putting pressure on the company to have to label their food so we know what's in it.
Well, I don't believe in force, but I do get where you're going with that, and I understand and I agree to an extent. What we need to do is, when it comes to labeling, we need to make it a voluntary market. So we end up stop buying products with GMOs. We get that awareness out. We need to get that awareness out so people stop buying the products, so the market fixes itself in that sense, where we are the market. We choose not to buy that, so people stop buying it, and people are more wary of buying stuff with GMOs in it. So companies voluntarily put labels on their food and they say, look, we don't have GMOs in it. Well, that's good for them because more people might buy that product. They will have more demand with their product if they put that on there. But it has to be voluntary, because we have to, it's a slippery slope into fascism when we are getting the government to, basically administrate all forms of corporation and all forms of business. We have enough regulations, we have enough legislation, and part of the legislation is what has made Monsanto so immune all this time. Like the Monsanto Protection Act. I mean, give me a break. It's so ridiculous that we keep asking for government to fix the problems of government. And I know this is an unpopular idea. I know there's going to be people coming out to my march that aren't going to agree, and I'm going to welcome them to have their freedom of speech to say what they believe. My thing is, though, from a personal level, I don't think that it's right or moral to have government infringe on business, because it is a slippery slope. And if you justify one form of intrusion and coercion, then you justify it all, because eventually you're going to say, well, but we kind of want this too, and we kind of want that. And it just builds it and builds until we have this giant government. We have to realize this is our heads, and we are holding this government up, and eventually that government's going to get so heavy that it's going to collapse in on us and crush us underneath, and we are already feeling the impact of that. So I think that it's important that we get that demand out there and get people aware of GMOs so they stop buying the GMO products, to get corporations to label. But most of these corporations are part of this monopoly, and that's where it's going to come down to the individual, and it's always the individual. We can't wait for someone else to help us. We got to help ourselves. It's our responsibility, and it's our responsibility for future generations as well, to be responsible and make sure that we, through demand, hold Monsanto accountable. Now, there's more to that, though, too, because Monsanto should be held accountable for things in court. They should be put on trial for some of the crimes against humanity. They should be, they should have executives going to prison, because when they have another government monopoly, which is the intellectual property coming in on that, where they are patenting, sorry, I can't say that word properly, patenting the crops and the strains, the DNA strains in the crops, and then that crop is blowing into another field, and then they sue the farmers. See, that is another part of another issue with government, and that is another reason why we shouldn't be looking to government to fix it. We should be looking to ourselves. We should be abolishing the coercive state. But when we get down to the issue of Monsanto, it comes down to us. We go to a grocery store, we buy products that are organic, that are not part of this Agenda 21 agenda to basically depopulate, to slow kill, to make us weak, to make us stupid. And it's happening in all forms of water, the air, and the food. And it is down to us. The government is manipulating this. The government is making it a problem in the first place. So we got to take that, learn from it, and stop asking them to help us, because they always make it worse. Ringo Starr said it best. Everything the government touches turns to, well, you know what I mean.
Wow, Ringo actually nailed something once. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think that's an important point to make as well, and to really drive it home to people, so that they understand. A lot of these youth today and the student movements don't seem to understand this concept, that you can't look to the state to solve the problems of the state. It all begins with yourself. And you are kind of advocating for more of a vote with your dollar type of approach, right? Right?
It's the only way that it could be free. We need freedom, and I cannot morally stand for anything that is anything less than freedom. It is freedom or nothing for me, and I don't recognize the state as it is, but the reality is we have to deal with the state, and the best way to deal with the state and deal with the monopolies that the state creates at a corporatist level is to be that market, be the demand, and make sure that we do not continue to give money to these corporations that we hate. Because I hear it all the time. So many people that are against Monsanto, I look in their kitchens. They have General Mills, they have Kellogg's, they have all of these companies, Heinz, all these companies that use these slow kill ingredients. And it's so important that we stop buying those products. I mean, it's simple. We just use the freedom of our actions and the freedom of ourselves as individuals to say no to products. And that's the way it always should be. Now, I'm not saying that is the greatest solution, but from a moral standpoint, it is the greatest solution, because we cannot enforce laws on corporations without it being a fascist, immoral act. And I believe in the non-aggression principle. I believe in an end to the coercive state. And I also think that with that, we should hold Monsanto executives accountable. We should throw some of them in prison for what they've been up to. And we should be able to take the information we have and get it to the public. Because, come on, the information's out there. If we haven't learned already, I don't know what to say. We can't be babies. We can't be nannied. We have to be, strong individuals and independent individuals, and say no to what we don't agree with and get that information out. That's the best way. We can't just pull something out of a market and let farmers collapse. Because do you know how many farmers I know that, first of all, are against Monsanto? There's whole coalitions. And then there's farmers as well that depend on the effectiveness of the value of what they use in order to, spray their crops. If we just pulled the rug out from underneath them, there'd be a lot of farmers going broke, a lot of farmers having to deal with a lot of problems. And that's not what I'm about. I'm about being, from a market perspective, saying no to stuff that we shouldn't be eating. But, at the same time, if people want to eat products that are bad for them, that's up to them. And then the market reacts to that. It's the same thing as pot or anything else. Should we ban cigarettes because they're bad for us? No, because that's people's choice. Should we? Same liberals that talk about banning Monsanto, they seem to be the same people that say we should stop the prohibition of marijuana. Now, marijuana obviously is an amazing plant, and it doesn't hurt you, and it isn't unhealthy, but it's an individual's choice to put it in their body, and that's a main point. So why take away liberties in one place and give them in others? Let's not manage liberties. Let's have them all and make our own decisions.
Well said, man. I agree. I would like to advocate for a true free market. And if we could truly have an actual free market, organizations like Monsanto would just crumble on their own weight because of just global noncompliance and people just not having anything to do with corporations and companies that they disagree with. So I would have to agree. That's the answer, man. Global non-compliance, not having the government use their authoritative force to stop these guys, but hey, you can stop it yourself by not participating. Very, very well said. Let people know where they can go if they want to join you this weekend, and where they can go to learn more from you.
Oh, well, you can join us at the Forks in Winnipeg if you are in Winnipeg. We will be gathering around 1 p.m. on Saturday, and we are really looking forward to seeing a great turnout. And as I said, I welcome people who have differentiations in opinion to stand up and say what they think. It's freedom of speech, and I'm not going to obviously encroach on any of that. It's up to the individual to decide what's right for them, and it's up to the individual to decide their own opinions. Now, you can find me at worldalternativemedia.com, World Alternative Media on YouTube and on Facebook. And, you just tell me what you think, because I know this point of view isn't exactly popular, but I think it's the only moral way to go about things, is for us as individuals to be the change we wish to see and not ask for big coercive government that everything it touches, as I said, turns to, just be an individualist, be there for yourself, stand up for yourself, be independent, and say no to bad, horrible corporatist corporations that are encroaching on our rights in the sense of they are taking away people's crops and suing them because of, ridiculous patent laws, which are put in place by government, which is immoral, and it's just wrong. So thank you very much, Dan, for having me.
Yeah, well, very well said, man. We'll have links to your event and your website, worldalternativemedia.com, in the description. Before I let you go, a little bit off topic. I believe you just finished up a conversation with Adam Kokesh. Did you interview him? All right, so you interviewed him. Now, I just noticed just the other day he came out endorsing John McAfee, and I found that interesting following his talk about, the lesser of evils argument being a bogus argument, following people supporting Donald Trump. Did you challenge him on that concept of using the state to destroy the state?
I did challenge him, but at the same time, I can understand where he's coming from. Now, just as a quick point, it was you, Luke Rudowski, Ron Paul, and Adam Kokesh who inspired me in the very beginning to get into what I'm doing today. And Adam Kokesh, he's one of the ballsiest people in activism. With that said, I don't necessarily agree with his perspective on voting for McAfee, though I think McAfee's a badass, and I think he's an awesome person. I disagree with voting in general, but that said, I do understand the perspective that he's coming from, where he says, look, we need to take advantage of this election to try and get rid of the left-right paradigm of the Republicans versus Democrats, so Pepsi and Coke. So I understand where he's coming from on that. You see, like, I'm a libertarian, but I'm also a voluntarist. So, if I don't believe in voting because I feel like that is pushing your will on other individuals. So I disagree with him on that in that sense. But he also came forward as someone who he's been friends with Gary Johnson, friends with Austin Peterson for a long time. And he still said, I wouldn't vote for them because, well, they don't go all the way. And I've seen Adam's recent interview on the Dollar Vigilante or Anarchast, with Richard Heathen as well. And I mean, I completely agreed with Adam on that point, and I actually think that he took a bit of what Richard Heathen was saying as well and used that as part of the reason why he is endorsing McAfee. I think McAfee's a great start, but the greatest start of all is us as individuals standing up, as I've said, and ending the state, and we need a revolution. It's our only option, and presidents are puppets. They always are. They always have been, and nothing's going to be different this time. And I mean, if Adam feels differently about that, good for him. But I have to say, as an individual, I disagree. But good for him. He's doing what he thinks is best, and I challenged him on it a bit. But I also think that Adam, after all these years, he knows what he's doing, and I do trust that he has a deep belief that more or less that it's more about spreading the information than actually getting him elected. I think he's trying to get that info out, just like Ron Paul in 2008 and 2012. He was spreading information. He wasn't expecting to get elected. The military-industrial complex, the CFR, the Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg Group, etc., the Rothschilds, they will not allow this kind of stuff to happen. So I think it's more about just getting information out. So maybe next time around we can have a bit more of a fight, and we have a bit more people on our side. But it's beyond me. I can't support anyone. I haven't endorsed anyone. I refuse to. And you'll see the interview soon. It'll be up shortly with Adam, and he presents his point, and all the more good for him. I mean, he's a really good individual and a true voluntarist. And, maybe this is a little bit hypocritical when it comes to voting, but, it's him. It's his choice to make those decisions. And, he's probably losing quite a few subscribers and probably gaining a few others. So,
yeah.
What can I say?
Well, I'd have to agree with you on that point. Global noncompliance is where it's at. I've never voted, and I never intend on voting anytime in the near future. So once again, men, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll have links in the description. Take care,
Absolutely.
Josh. See ya.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, that was Josh Sigurdson of worldalternativemedia.com. Really holding down the fort there in Winnipeg, doing an excellent job. He's been banging out all kinds of fantastic reports, putting out 2-3 videos a week. So be sure to be subscribing to Josh on YouTube. We'll have links in the description. Now, I want to get to our next guest, Daniel Bissonnette. Now, this is a young activist who's been in this March Against Monsanto scene for a number of years now, even though the fact that he's only in, I don't even think he's a teenager quite yet, but he is going to be sharing a stage with me this Saturday for the Vancouver's March Against Monsanto rally. I'm going to be giving a talk there, and Daniel is also going to be giving a talk there. So I want to bring him on the line. We're going to find out what he has planned for this year. But before we do, we'll play a little clip of a new series that Daniel has released, where every Tuesday he has a new video series out where you can ask Daniel all about GMOs, Monsanto, food health in general. So this is last week's clip of Daniel's video, Ask Daniel. And when we get back from the clip, we'll be joined on the line with Daniel Bissonnette.
Welcome to the Ask Daniel Show, where we answer your questions every Tuesday. This week's question is from Kimberly, from Iceland. Ooh. Her question is, Daniel, I don't have that much time to make meals, but what is the easiest and fastest way to boost the nutrition in my meals? Well, Kimberly, thank you for that great question. I love it. So, the easiest and fastest way to skyrocket the nutrition is just by adding at least one superfood. I know, right? It's that easy. But what are superfoods? Well, superfoods are nutrient powerhouses, full of antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, minerals, and many more essential and rare nutrients. I like to think of superfoods like superheroes. Take Iron Man, for instance. When Iron Man's Tony Stark, he looks like the apple or the banana. But when he gets that Iron Man suit on, he's got the power. Like that goji, chia, hemp, maca. I love hemp because it's one of my favorite superfoods. Because when it comes to protein, hemp is king. Just as little as 100 grams of hemp seeds gives you 73% of your recommended daily allowance for protein. And it has all the essential fatty acids and amino acids in the perfect ratio, which makes hemp the best. So just add a teaspoon of hemp to one of your meals to boost the nutrition content. For more epic recipes, go to my Facebook, where you'll find some recipes from my book, Daniel's Breakfast Bursts. Because healthy eating is not difficult, it's just different. See, food isn't just calories. It's information. It tells your DNA what to do. So give your body the information that might just turn you into the superhero you're always meant to be. Thank you. I'm Daniel Bissonnette. Thanks for submitting your question to Facebook as we change the world together, one lesson at a time.
All right, Daniel Bissonnette, changing the world together, one lesson at a time. That was last week's newest video series, and we now have Daniel joining us on the line. So, Daniel, first of all, thanks for joining us here today on Press for Truth Live.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan, for giving me this opportunity.
No problem, man. So we just watched one of your clips, and this is a pretty cool video series that you've just launched. Tell us a little bit about this video series. What is it, and what's it about?
Well, it's basically you submit a question to my Facebook, and I answer it for like stuff you want to know. Like, and I also, one of the reasons I designed this show is because like I was all alone when I was in preschool and in school, I was the only vegan kid. I was all alone. But that's why I created the Ask Daniel show, because so other kids, they're not alone. We're in this together.
So you're creating a community for other kids to learn about the dangers of GMOs, or is it more about learning about how to be healthy? And is it just for kids, or is it open to anyone?
It's open to anyone, and it's changing the world one lesson at a time.
So people, where do they go? We'll have to include links to this in the description to your Facebook page. So they go to Facebook, is that right? And then they just put the question in there, and then every single week...
They send me a question.
Right, and then you answer it every week. Awesome. I noticed in your video, you also mentioned about your books. Now, last time we spoke was a little while ago. I had you on Press for Truth Live once before, and we were talking about some of your books. Are they published now? And tell the audience a bit about what you've written.
Yeah, so I got 2 books, like I mentioned, and I sold out on my recipe book. And, well, that's because I printed more copies of this one, but...
And what's that one called?
That's The Giving Child, and it's my last copy. But we're getting more printed for the March Against Monsanto, so you could come to the event or pre-order it, and that way I'll save a copy for you, so I don't get sold out, and then, you know.
So one of them is a recipe book.
Yeah, I sold out.
And that one is sold out. And what's the other one about?
Oh, well, this is the Giving Child. It's about reconnecting kids with nature. But the other one is the recipe book, Daniel's Breakfast Burst.
Nice.
An entire month of fresh, delicious, life-changing breakfast recipes.
I love breakfast recipes. You know what a lot of kids, though, love is candy. And, you know, around the time of Halloween, I remember you guys put out a really powerful video to explain some of the dangers behind that time of year with kids going out collecting candies. Tell us a little bit about that video. That looked like a fun video to produce.
Which one, first or second?
Oh, right. So you did 2 Frankenstein-style videos, right? Tell us about the first one.
One was Frankenfood Halloween, and the other one was like almost like where I'm detective looking through the ingredients of the candies.
That's right. The Frankenfood.
Finding the hidden truth.
Right. So these are clever ways that you've thought of to be able to raise awareness and to get this information out there. You've got books, you've got video series, you've got sketch videos. That's great. And you're also giving Facebook as well. And on top of all of this, you've been giving talks and you've been giving speeches, and you're going to be doing another one this year.
Yeah, I'm also on Instagram.
What is your, we're going to have links to all of this. We need your Instagram account and your Facebook account. And are you on Twitter yet?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So we'll get all your links to everything there, so people can learn more from you. And then on Saturday, maybe they can tune in and find out what you're going to be talking about. So this year, what do you have planned for the rally? I mean, you don't want to give away too much of your talk, but what sort of things are you going to be talking about this year?
I'll give some paragraphs through your questions.
Okay.
To answer them.
Okay. So, yeah, just give me a tiny taste of what your speech is about.
Okay. It's basically about how there's these hidden truths about our food, and then we're really basically putting the truth up on a wall and saying, look, and then saying, but we can do this. We can win with the power of, you have to find out. You'll come to the event and find out there.
True, yes. We don't want to give too much away.
The power of, I'm leaving the
It's going to leave it at that. People can get the rest if they come. But so what you're doing, you're going to present facts on a silver platter and show everybody, hey, look, this is the information. You need to decide what you want to do with it, right? Is that essentially?
No, not really. Sort of. I show the facts about this. Not really the facts, but I really I don't know how to explain it. It's
Well,
hard to explain.
Well, I think people are just going to have to come on out and check it out this Saturday. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that talk. I remember you were at the one last year. Were you at the one? Is this your third March Against Monsanto?
Yeah. Oh, and I actually just figured out how to phrase it. So there's basically this hidden power, this thing that with it, we can basically save humanity from this genetically engineering and Monsanto trying to own nature.
Wow, that sounds powerful. I don't know if you heard my last guest, but we were talking about some of these powerful things that the individual can do, and we were talking a little bit about just not being involved with it and not buying the products and essentially voting with your dollar. What do you think of that idea about just global non-compliance and saying, no, I don't want to have anything to do with you?
Perfect, but this hidden power is even stronger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to, and that's the power of that one word is so special.
Okay.
It's basically this, together we'll be able to do this power, and it's fantastic.
That sounds powerful. That sounds pretty incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to have to say this week. So why don't you let people know a little bit about some of the links that they can go to learn more from you? You said you have some of the social media links.
Yeah, I'm not very active on Twitter, but
okay. Well, that's okay. I'm not very active on Twitter either. I gotta get better at Twitter.
I'm active on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
Awesome.
I'm really active on.
Good. Those are great places to be active because that's where people are. People are watching stuff on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram a lot too, so it's a great place to be. I'll get all of your links for you so we can have them in the description there. Any final thoughts on this year's rally and what you hope to see this coming Saturday?
I don't hope. I do. So basically, I'm going to give out this power, this secret, and we're going to do it.
Awesome. Awesome. You see that, folks? It's not about hoping. It's about simply doing. And if you want to get the secret power and the one word that's going to help us defeat Monsanto, come on out on Saturday, and we'll see what that's all about. So, Daniel, man, thank you very much for joining us today, and I look forward to speaking with you on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right, folks, that was the one and only Daniel Bissonnette. He has been giving talks, as I said, for a few years now at these global March Against Monsanto rallies, and I documented his speech at last year's Vancouver event, and I have that on my YouTube channel. In fact, I'll put a link in the description of this video as well, so you can check that out, because he really has a knack for inspiring the crowd and really getting people fired up. So it should be interesting to see what this young man has to say this Saturday. And again, folks, it is this Saturday. It's coming up in just 4 days. If you're not sure where one of these rallies is taking place in your town, again, it's going on in over 500 cities all over the world. There's Facebook events. Just type in global March Against Monsanto in Facebook, and you'll find an event in your town. We'll also have links in the description. So again, I hope to see you guys there on Saturday. I'm going to be in attendance at the Vancouver rally. And I wish all the best of luck to my friends out there in Toronto. James, I hope you have a great rally, and everyone else who's been really holding down the fort for these March Against Monsanto rallies. I'm looking forward to seeing big numbers this Saturday because, again, it's all about getting out this message of global non-compliance. That's what I really enjoyed about what our first guest had to say today, Josh Sigurdson, and not imposing your any kind of force or not looking to the authoritative state to solve the problems of the authoritative state. So on that note, folks, I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. We're going to play a quick video now from our sponsors at CanadaGrowers.ca, and when we come back, we'll talk about a couple of our sponsors before we kick off the show. Here's our quick Canada Growers clip from the guys at CanadaGrowers.ca.
British Columbia, home to the most beautiful landscapes in the world, home to mom and pop vineyards, hot springs, farmers markets, some of the world's best skiing, snowboarding, surfing, and mountain biking. We protect our rainforests and keep our air clean. BC, we strike the right balance between nature and nurture. But did you know that for the last 30 years, BC has also been home to the finest cannabis in the world? BC Bud is world-renowned for its taste, aroma, and potency. We've competed and won cups, gained recognition from international celebrities. We are the Cannabis Growers of Canada. We create wealth, opportunity, and good-paying private sector jobs. The BC cannabis crop is worth over $7 billion a year, and there were over 17,000 farms creating work for Canadians and improving the lives of millions of people. We are joining together to build a free and fair cannabis market that benefits all Canadians. Won't you come and join us at CanadaGrowers.ca?
And CanadaGrowers.ca is the website, folks. Be sure to check it out. We'll have links in the description. And I'm also going to be speaking soon with the founder and the president of the Canada Growers Association, Chad Jackett, because he has been, he launched, I guess you could call it a campaign, a Love Thy Neighbor Challenge campaign, where I'm going to be doing a video about this very soon. We'll lay it all out for you, but they're donating some of their products to the victims of the Fort McMurray fire. And Chad Jackett at CanadaGrowers.ca has donated an ounce of shatter that all the proceeds from the sales of that will go directly to the people who were affected in Fort McMurray. So huge shout out to Canada Growers for doing that. And a big shout out to some of our other sponsors who also make this show possible and who also donated to the Love Thy Neighbor Challenge. We have Skunk Beard and Panda extracts. The first one we have up here, Skunk Beard Extracts, the funkiest skunk established in 2016. This is Scotty of Skunk Beard, and he just donated to this challenge. And again, we also have the support of Panda Extracts, producing some of BC's finest medical grade cannabis products going to patients all across the country. And they help to make this show possible. So I want to thank our sponsors for being involved. And you can actually be involved with us here at Press for Truth as well. If you appreciate the work we do all throughout the week, creating video reports, if you like the production of a live show every Tuesday, well, you can contribute to our efforts here by joining my Patreon stream. And if you go to patreon.com/pressfortruth, you can sign up there, and you can join for $1 or $2 a month, however much you want. And there you get access to the Patreon-only stream, where I update that with clips from time to time. And again, you help to support shows like this. So please check out the links in the description. So that's it for today, folks. I hope to see you there. If not in Vancouver, then wherever you are, hopefully you attend the Global March Against Monsanto rally this Saturday, May 21st. And other than that, I'll be right back here next week, same time, same channel. Until then, my friends, keep fighting the good fight.